Morocco, a world symphony. The images, the stories, the colors that this name can raise are so numerous. I'll go random along the road. You will see for yourselves, and I hope you will be delighted. My plane landed in Casablanca, where everything seems to have started, since we found tools of the first hominidae dating from 700,000 years. This is the king Mohammed VI and his family. Before him, a world story. He is the 23rd of the Alawite dynasty, a distant descendant of Ali, son-in-law of the Prophet Muhammad. Casablanca, metropolitan and economic capital of the country, is a martyr town, which was twice destroyed by the colonial powers. The Medina is still the historical heart of the city, which has grown out of the way. At the beginning of the 20th century, the European architects rivaled creativity by developing an important Art Deco area. The Great Mosque of Casablanca is one of the world's largest. It was completed in 1993 under the reign of Hassan II, whose name it bears. It's a huge religious and cultural complex whose esplanade can accommodate more than 100,000 people and the prayer room 25,000. The construction was largely funded by a strong national subscription. It has helped to revive the Moroccan crafts. Craftsmen from all over the country carved 500,000 square feet of woodland and over 100,000 square feet of ceramics. This is the ablution room that features 41 fountains in the forms of lotus. Let's now take the road to Fez by making a stop at Volubilis. This ancient city appears in the 3rd century before Christ. It was then the capital of the Berber kingdom of Mauritania. Volubilis developed its agricultural area in Roman times and succeeded in particular in the trade of olive oil. The Romans left the city in the year 285, but it continued to be inhabited for 7 centuries as a Christian city, then as a Muslim one. The Idriside dynasty, founder of Morocco, started here in the 8th century. This capital was abandoned in the 11th century and was destroyed by an earthquake in the 18th century. Thereafter, the ruined stones were used for the construction of the nearby city of Meknes. Rapidly we are in Fez, the spiritual capital of Morocco and one of the major centers of Islamic civilization. We are here at the Royal Dar El Makhzen Palace. This is the former Jewish quarter of the city. This community was massacred twice, in the 11th and the 15th century. The last exodus followed the foundation of the State of Israel. With a rich aesthetic culture and close to the sources of Andalusian art, Fez has developed a rich tradition of craft trades, promoted by the abundance of essential materials such as stone, wood, and clay. We are visiting the Regional Cooperative and Regional Training Center for Pottery and Ceramic. Alleys of the old town are full of mysteries. The Medinas of Fez are classified as a World Heritage by UNESCO. Trade was always very abundant because the city was a caravan center of importance which was constantly connected to the Kingdom of Granada and the entire Mediterranean basin. At the end of the 19th century, the French explorer Charles de Foucault underlined its importance. Al-Qarawin Mosque, founded in the 9th century, is considered as the oldest university in the world after the antique centers of Athens and Alexandria. It participates in the golden age of Islamic civilization. It attracted and influenced the scientists and the mystics of Andalusia and of all Europe. Under the reign of the Almohades, the city of Fez had 785 mosques. The Medresa Bu Inania, open to non-Muslims, is a theological university and mosque on Friday. The main entrance opens on two smaller halls with wood domes. The decor is rich and delicate. The facade includes an imposing and very complex water clock dating from the 14th century. We leave Fez through the Babu Jelud Dome. Then we go southeast towards the Sahara Desert. We go to Merzouga through the cities of Ifran, Zaida, Erachidia, and Erfoud. We cross the mountain ranges of the Middle Atlas and the Upper Atlas. The road will be long, with rare stops. Sometimes it will be cold and our windows will be dimmed.
حريق ثور الردغ تفاق يا ساد النوبة تغرمط تجيني زكوت نكون ردك نلقاو لازم مرتك فانا رنعنوتا يا ذاكرتي يكم نروح وسنن سقعد داموري بن الاطار يا باب نتويزي اصلا هرغن المال الساداني غازك نوغالك رثيب وما نروح يا ديويزي وين سود البوسن الشاش سود الحرير وبرين دازك زي الرياش بدون طغرات من تثوغاش هذي ينده ومرارار دسهون وراشة كردي يكم نروح يا ثيوي زيوي سوت الفسن الشاش سوت الحرير وبرين دازق زل رياش أبدو متغراتي أوصق من تثوغاش هذي ينده ومرارار دسهون وراشة كردي يكم نروح يا ثيوي زيوي
Morocco has a huge variety of minerals shaped by the movements of the earth, ocean and wind in this part of the world. Disguise for sand and sun. First sand dunes. I think we are here. We are in Merzouga. We drop our bags and we ride camels to spend the night under the tent. Ready? Let's go!
ما جننتيني أنا ما بهدلتيني أنا ما جننتيني أنا ما بهدلتيني أنا عمري ما بنسى عمري ما بنسى عمري ما بنسى عمري ما بنسى.
Here is our camp.
حبيبي سيد الناس يبقى لي والناس يبقى لي والناس
أفريقيا.
The courageous escalade the dune. Others stay up and wait for sunset.
اللوري حلا بيدلاني في الوديان دلاني في الوديان
Beach person, sand person. Yeah, then I get bored. Yeah, no, I'm exactly the same. Wow. Oh, it's just a bike. It's not a...
Return to supper. I find out that I lost in the desert a weaving device of $3,500. Travelers, guides, even camels are seeking desperately in the sand.
الحرير الطيب خزران النيل
When I wake up, my eyes are overwhelmed. I find my device in the sand when it's time to go back on my camel. The day is barely rising.
الحرير الطيب خزران النيل خزران النيل جابني لك الزمان وبرضي بك والهان أنا برضي بك والهان أنا جنني 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 زولي جنني
Back to the fold.
زولي جنني زولي جنني زولي جنني زولي جنني فقير عازمي فقير عازمي اكتبوا الحجاب من الهلك نهلا خرب قلوبنا خراب
Farewell, Merzouga. We now have a journey in Berber country, which will lead us to Marrakech, and we will start with Sahara, a very old fortified mountain village. Berber is the original indigenous ethnic group in North Africa. Despite the multiple invasions that the region has experienced over the centuries, it's in Morocco that Berbers have preserved their own identity better. Their customs, their traditions, their popular arts. Of course, they have been Islamized, but at the linguistic level, they still speak their Amazigh language, which in Morocco became official in 2011, same as Arabic. Here is the oasis of the village. In this arid country, it's important to channel water from rivers to grow fruit and vegetables. Today, the almond trees are in bloom. These are the vertiginous gorges of the Tudua River. These walls of about 1,000 feet are very popular with climbers. We had to sleep in a hotel called the Rocks Casbah, but a big rock got off the cliff, and then we will have to sleep somewhere else tonight. And now let's follow the Roses Valley, even though it's not the flower season yet. We see here the mirrors of the Doha thermodynamic power plant. Ouarzazate, the desert gate, the starting point of the Oasis Road. The tourist Casbah is a national heritage of the 18th century. Visit of a spices and perfume workshop. Due to the quality of the light shining more than 300 days a year, the region has become a major movie production center. All started in 1954 with Ali Baba and the 40 Thieves. Along the roads we can find beautiful handicrafts displays. The next Ksar, Aïd Ben Hadou, is a UNESCO World Heritage. Mud houses are built along the hillside, and at the top of the hill was a collective granary. The walls of the city are strengthened by angle towers. Houses have high towers made of raw brick. This is the old collective granary, well protected at the top of the hill. Our guide knows parents here who open the doors of their modest houses. Cooperative workshop of tribal carpets.
And the anthropology carpet. Where is
After a night spent at the Saint Rose Hotel, we will now cross the Atlas Mountains to reach Marrakech by the Tishka Pass, 7,000 feet high. In Marrakech, I meet my cousin Catherine. She has been teaching here for 15 years. She fell in love with the Red City, Morocco, its climate, the Berber culture, and the Moroccans. She will be our new guide. Of course, we must not miss the famous Jemal Fna Square. Enrolled in the intangible heritage of the UNESCO, it attracts over 1 million visitors every year.
Hey, monsieur. Madame, come.
Marrakech means Morocco. It is Morocco at its best. It was founded in the 11th century by a leader of the Berber Empire of the Almoravides. In the 16th century, it became the capital of the Saharan Empire.
Nu dans ce monde noir, sans regard, sans image, dépouillé de moi-même.
Catherine will get us into the souks that she knows very well.
Souvenir que de toi, mon amour, au fond de la nuit, au fond de la nuit, au fond de la nuit, fils sous l'île. Mon secret frémissant qu'aveuglement je touche. Mémoire de mes mains, mémoire de ma bouche.
Et donc, tu vois, ça c'est la halle des esclaves.
D'accord.
Et normalement, bon là c'est vendredi, il n'y a pas de marchand, mais normalement les femmes viennent vendre des vieux vêtements maintenant. Alors ça c'est les tapis qui sont devenus à la mode depuis une quinzaine d'années.
Oui.
Ça s'appelle des boucharouettes, ça veut dire les résidus de la poubelle. Donc tu prends des vieux vêtements, tu les découpes en lanières et les femmes les tissent en vieux vêtements. Tout ça c'est des vieux vêtements.
Here, since the 17th century, in the room of the 12 Carrare marble columns, the Sultan Ahmed El Mansour is lying with his successors and his family. The tombs of the soldiers and servants are in the gardens. The Palace of the Bahia was the largest and most fascinating riot of Morocco when it was built in the 19th century. It became a museum, and it is one of the major monuments of Islamic art in Morocco. Under the French protectorate, General and future Marshal Lyoté chose it for his personal residence in 1912. With Catherine, let's continue in the Medina, the historic city.
Comme la preuve d'être en brûlant le miroir, si fragile bonheur qu'à peine on peut y croire. J'ai peur de ton silence et pourtant tu respires. Contre moi je te tiens, imaginaire empire.
The Mouassin Museum presents thematic exhibitions as well as traditional music concerts. The main apartment, Douiria Derb Al Hammam, is a symphony of colors.
Le guetteur sur les murs qui souffre d'une feuille.
By continuing by the alleys of the Medina, we will finally have tea on the terrace of Riyad da Cherifa, on the rooftops of
Je vis pour
Marrakech.
cette crainte en moi de toutes choses. Va dire au mon gazelle à ceux du jour futur qu'ici le nom d'Elsace n'est ma signature. Va dire au mon
In 1937, Jacques Majorelle painted his house Art Deco with bright colors, dominated by the blue to which he gave his name. He planted a magnificent botanical garden inspired by the oasis, which was open to the public as early as 1947.
au fond de la nuit, au fond de la nuit, au fond de la nuit.
The dressmaker Yves Saint-Laurent, together with Pierre Berger, acquired the property in 1980. The workshop of Majorelle is transformed into a Berber museum. Then, in 2017, a Yves Saint Laurent museum was opened with a room dedicated to Jacques Majorelle and one to the works of the couturier. The evening falls over the Koutoubia, a famous Almoravid mosque of the 12th century. A little courtesy visit to the association Bold and Strong, a rehabilitation center for young people in difficulty, where Catherine has exercised volunteer action. Taking the southern route now, we will make a first stop at Oued Massi with friends of Catherine.
Bagna à l'école.
This is where Maria, Aziz and friends restored a country house and a beautiful family riad. We now leave for a 900-kilometer ride in South Morocco. Our first step will be Essaouira on the Atlantic coast, but we will first do a small animal therapy before going downtown.
Oh, dance, baby, dance. Oh, dance, baby, baby, decadence. Oh, dance, baby, dance. Oh, dance, baby, dance. Oh, dance, baby, baby, abundance.
The site is very old. In the 16th century, the Portuguese founded a place they called Mogador. In 1605, they built a fortress and city walls, but their colony was quickly abandoned in the face of the hard resistance of the local Berber population. The new town was built in 1760 to accommodate foreign merchants. Sultan Mohammed ben Abdallah appealed to the French architect Théodore Cornu, a Vauban disciple.
Les enfants seront des souris. Ils prendront la couleur.
The city walls are of a Cherifian style, while maritime defenses are European.
Du gambris, avec le cœur et le talent d'ici. Oh, Essaouira.
The city then became a unique development to become the country's most important port and even its diplomatic capital. Salut Maroc! We have a lunch with Félix and Benoit, two Montreal artists in vacation.
y a des malheurs qui nous empêchent. Oh, Essaouira, on prend le rythme d'Awa. Essaouira, on ralentit son pas. Oh, Essaouira, on prend le rythme d'Awa. Essaouira, on ralentit son
Passing here in 1884, French explorer Charles de Foucault noted a commercial decline of the city. Essaouira returned to Mogador under the French protectorate, but its decline continued. It is in the 20th century that the city was reborn through tourism and the development of its multicultural and artistic community. In the 1960s, Essaouira became an oasis for the hippies from all over the world. It became famous for its Gnawa music. The Medina of Essaouira has been on the World Heritage Site of UNESCO since 2001. Our hotel, the Souiri. It's in Essaouira that Orson Welles turned his film Othello in 1952. Last walks on the beach. It's time to go to bed. We continue the south road along the coast. Here are some argan trees, a specific species of Morocco which is jealously protected. Argan oil has food and cosmetic virtues. Let's go down to the small fishing port of Tafedna. The port is not rich. the hinterland is not well developed. In this beautiful nature, and also to relax their passions, friends of Catherine developed the Tascayan Inn. Here's a contractor, passionate about beautiful buildings and especially old doors. Here is our room, number 6. She is a retired plastic surgeon, an ear specialist, but also a sculptor. She shows us her hidden treasure, a small museum of pottery of the Rif in North Morocco. Naima Khaldoun, a pediatrician in Marrakech, is a friend of the couple, but also a friend of Catherine, with whom she shares several passions. Today at dawn, they take me to discover the infinite spaces of the Tafedna beach.
Alors là, on est reparti, on prend l'autoroute, l'autoroute pour Agadir,
Voilà.
direction Agadir. Hop. Salut chef, t'as oublié ton sac chez eux.
Ouais. Heureusement qu'on s'est arrêté, dis donc.
Bah, It is not far, it's direct. Destroyed by an earthquake in 1960, Agadir was completely rebuilt according to paraseismic standards. It is now the largest resort in Morocco. Let's continue our coastal road to the south. This is Tifnit, a tiny fishing port where we hope to spend the night.
Wow, merde!
The site looks beautiful and the reception is very refreshing. Our room is up there. Let's just come in. It is rustic, almost Spartan, but clean and so picturesque. Will the misery really be bearable at sunset? These two do not seem unhappy. We have 2 terraces and a splendid panorama. To hell with television.
La quoi? La Shibania?
La Shibania avec ses lunettes.
La Shibania à lunettes, au coucher du soleil.
A bird visits us and lies on our whale vertebra. sun is going down over Tifnit. Good night. But here we get up early. A frugal breakfast before going back to the wood. Fishing is better to those who wake up early. But the village alleys are still very quiet. Tifnit is a well-hidden treasure. Hello, buddies. Our southernmost destination will be the ornithological reserve of Oued Massi National Park. There are 7 traditional Berber villages in this park. We boarded our guide near his home at the entrance of the park. Here is the Massa River. We find that without a tripod, we are not properly equipped for this kind of photography. We can nevertheless see some varieties of ibises, cormorants, black-headed chagras, and white spatulas. Some visitors went further in the estuary on camel's back, so they can see the flamingos and the bald ibis that we find just here.
C'est ce village-là qu'on a vu quand on a pris la petite route.
Oui.
Back to the north, Hotel Tiout in Taroudant in the valley of the Sousse River. Taroudant was the capital of a small Shia kingdom in the 11th century. The souks are scattered in the different alleys of the city where we can meet picturesque calèches.
En français, en arabe, en amazigh.
Ah oui,
Les trois langues.
officiel.
The city of Taroudant was a capital of the Saudi dynasty. It is defended by 6 kilometers of ramparts, which made it a very impressive citadel. We will now climb the slopes of the High Atlas. This mountain road was built from 1926 to 1932 under the French protectorate. These young people got a flat. They are waiting for help next to a water point and a picturesque stop. A clever boy sells herbs from the mountains to make herbal tea. He has been fixing a rough shelter under which he offers the tea. At 2,000 meters of altitude, we finally arrive at Tizi Pass. Little pause for a Berber tortilla. And now the long descent.
نحكيلك ما في قلبي ما يبقاش مكتوم ومخبي نحكيلك ما في قلبي.
These are the ruins of the communal attic of Tinmel, the original city of the Almohades.
زادوا في قلبي نار واللي واجب عليا نحكي لك وانا امري لا نحكي لك.
Only the ruins remain of the great mosque, the model of which was distributed throughout the Maghreb over the next centuries. Tinmel will retain a primordial place in the history of the country. In Ouirgane, in the heart of the Berber country, among the tranquillities of the Upper Atlas, is nestled the resort of La Roseraie. At 1,000 meters of altitude, fresh in summer and in winter, away from the noise and the turbulence of cities, flower beds, olive trees, orchards, and many roses. At more than 4,000 meters of altitude, the Jebel Toubkal is the highest point of Morocco, of North Africa, and of all the Arab world. This beautiful village following the hillside formerly was Kik. Today it is called Moulay Brahim, the name of a saint Sufi in the region called Tahir al-Jabal, the mountain bird. He lived in the 17th century.
زادوا في قلبي نار نحكيلك الصرار زادوا في قلبي نار نحكيلك وانا امري لا نحكيلك.
We are now on the Kik Plateau, a beautiful hiking area about 60 kilometers from Marrakech. The calcareous cliffs of the Kik Plateau, which dominate the valley, are well known for their aerial currents propitious to paragliding. This is an irreversible date for air sports fans.
واش عملت انايا بسقني واش عملت انايا انت سبب فرحي وكمال انايا انت سبب فرحي وكمال انايا الحب سقني واش عملت انايا الحب سقني واش عملت انايا
And one, perfect landing.
في غرام كانت شجون وعجبي وكتير غيرها وعجبي
And two,
غيرها وعجبي كتير غيرها وعجبي كتير والحيرة وعجبي كتير.
we too, we must now pick up our sails and pack our bags. We have made a nice trip. We have seen all the colors, haven't we? The colors of Morocco. Thank you, Catherine. I'll come back.
نحكيك أسرار زادوا في قلبي نار نحكيك أسرار زادوا في قلبي